You already know she's losing respect for you. You feel it, you just don't want to say it out loud. And that silence right there, that is exactly the problem. Let me tell you what is actually happening. You are not failing in your relationships because you are unlucky or because you picked the wrong person. You are failing because you never learn the rules of the game. And here is the brutal part. Everyone else is playing. Machiavelli wrote The Prince over 500 years ago, and almost nothing has changed. Human nature doesn't upgrade. It doesn't patch itself. The exact same psychological dynamics that toppled kingdoms are running in every relationship you have ever had. Approval seeking, emotional overinvestment, covert contracts you never agreed to, but somehow keep honoring. You give, you wait, and you expect reciprocity. And when it doesn't come, you give more. That is not love. That is a losing negotiation. Machiavelli called men like this the unarmed prophet. He said, and I want you to hear this clearly, all armed prophets have conquered. All unarmed prophets have been destroyed. Your weapons aren't swords. They are composure, frame, and strategic restraint. And right now, you are unarmed. That changes today. Here is the core truth you must understand. Your weakness in relationships is not a character flaw. It is a strategic error, and strategic errors can be corrected, not with manipulation, not with games, but with a fundamental rewiring of how you carry yourself, how you think, and what you silently communicate. This is surgical. This is practical. And yes, this is going to be uncomfortable. Good. Ask yourself this question. When was the last time you said something and immediately checked her face to see if it landed? When was the last time you softened your opinion because you sensed she disagreed? When was the last time you did something you didn't want to do just to avoid tension? Think honestly for a moment. That checking behavior, that softening, that conflict avoidance, that is approval seeking, and approval seeking is psychological suicide in any relationship. Here is why. The human brain is wired for a simple truth. If something is easy to get, it has low value. This isn't cynicism, it's behavioral economics. When you constantly signal that her approval is something you desperately need, you communicate a scarcity of self-worth. Her brain unconsciously registers that you need her more than she needs you. The moment that tips, the dynamic shifts, not because she's calculating or cruel, but because it is primal and automatic. Machiavelli understood this centuries before psychology had a language for it. He wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Now, I'm not telling you to be feared in your relationship. I am telling you to understand what that quote is actually about. Neediness is the exact opposite of fear. Neediness is the thing that makes you irrelevant. The man who doesn't need her approval, that man is interesting. He is unpredictable. He creates a cognitive loop she simply cannot close. Stop narrating your decisions to her as requests for validation. Make a decision, state it, and move on. Don't add, "Is that okay?" at the end. Don't eagerly watch her face after you speak. Develop an internal compass that points inward, not toward her reaction. This isn't coldness or cruelty. It is the foundation of genuine confidence. And genuine confidence is what attraction is actually built on. But it is not just about what you communicate emotionally. It is about what you communicate strategically. Through information. Information is power, and you are giving yours away for free. Does she know exactly how you feel about her at all times? Does she know your schedule, your plans, your anxieties, your insecurities? If the answer is yes, you have surrendered your strategic position. Vulnerability, deployed correctly, is a weapon, but what most men practice isn't vulnerability. It's emotional dumping. It is the complete transfer of your inner world to another person in exchange for absolutely nothing. In intelligence strategy, this is called information asymmetry. Whoever holds more information holds more power. The wise man chooses deliberately what to show and when. Are you a book she has already finished reading, or are you a book she keeps returning to because there are pages she hasn't reached yet? Mystery isn't manipulation. It is the natural byproduct of a man with depth. Practice strategic restraint. When she asks how you feel about her, pause, smile, and give her something real but partial. You're interesting to me. I don't give that easily. When she asks about your plans, you don't owe her a full itinerary. I've got some things in motion. I'll tell you more when they develop. This creates open loops in her mind. The brain cannot rest with incomplete information. She will think about you. But here is where most men collapse. When emotion hits, she says something that strikes a nerve, a slight, a test, a dismissal. Your face changes, your voice changes, and the moment she sees it, she now holds the map to your interior. She knows exactly which lever to pull. Emotional reactivity is the single most exploited vulnerability in male behavior. Wolves don't flinch when hyenas circle, not because they feel nothing, but because showing fear invites attack. Stoic philosophy called this the trained capacity to experience emotion without being controlled by it. Train the 2-second gap. When something provokes you, do not respond in real time. Insert 2 seconds of silence. Let your nervous system reset. Keep your face neutral and your voice level. Those 2 seconds communicate more power than any sharp comeback. This isn't suppression, it is regulation. And regulated men feel fundamentally safe, yet fundamentally unpredictable. Even the most regulated man can be undone by something invisible, covert contracts. Have you ever done something kind or patient and felt a quiet expectation build beneath it? You didn't negotiate it. You just assumed she would understand. And when she didn't, you felt hurt or contempt. A covert contract is a unilateral agreement made entirely inside your own head. She didn't sign it. She doesn't even know it exists, yet you enforce it, and when it's violated, you collapse into resentment. This dynamic destroys relationships. Audit your covert contracts right now. Identify where you expect something in return but never said so. Then either state the expectation directly and negotiate it openly, or release it completely. Direct communication feels vulnerable, but it is infinitely more powerful than silent scorekeeping. This brings us to Machiavelli's most famous, yet misunderstood, strategy: the fox and the lion. A prince must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. Not one, both. The pure lion, all dominance and muscle, charges into traps. The pure fox, all caution and analysis, is seen as soft and easily pushed. The genuinely powerful man deploys both as conditions demand. Read the room like a fox. Gather information before you move. But when a line is crossed, and only when a line is crossed, respond like a lion with complete clarity and zero apology. State the consequence and enforce it. Fox first, lion when necessary. Men who flip this are easy to manage because their triggers are entirely visible. Identify your default and practice the one you are weakest in. Beneath all of this lies a silent war: frame control. Every relationship has an unspoken operating reality. Who is more invested? Who adjusts to whom? You didn't choose your frame consciously, but you are living inside one right now. Is it your frame or hers? Frame control isn't domination. It is psychological sovereignty. We naturally calibrate to the dominant frame in a social interaction. Most men enter relationships in reactive mode. She sets the emotional tone and he adjusts. This is frame subordination, the clearest signal of low psychological status. Practice frame maintenance. When she is in a bad mood, don't scramble to fix it. Stay in your own emotional state. Be warm but steady. When she tests your certainty, don't endlessly justify yourself. State your position once, calmly. You are the riverbank, not the water. Your frame is not a wall, it is an anchor. And anchored men are the ones women genuinely trust. Finally, the most counterintuitive move in any dynamic of influence: strategic withdrawal. Be willing to walk away, not as a threat, but as a genuine expression of your own standards. Scarcity is the most powerful value signal in human psychology. We are wired to want what we cannot easily have. Your time, your attention, your presence, these are valuable resources. If you are always available and accommodating, you communicate that your resources are cheap. The demand of attraction is uncertainty with warmth, not coldness, but the genuine possibility that you have a full life, real standards, and the spine to enforce them. Identify one area where you are consistently overgiving and pull back, not to punish, but to recalibrate to your actual value. Fill that space with something real: your work, your training, your vision. The man who disappears into nothing is just unavailable. The man who withdraws into his purpose is magnetic. You came here and recognized yourself in these words. That recognition wasn't comfortable. Good. Discomfort is the first signal of change. You now know that approval seeking is a strategic error, and information asymmetry is real. You know that emotional neutrality is a power position, and covert contracts are destroying you. You must be both the fox and the lion. Maintain your frame and understand the power of strategic withdrawal. If you ignore this, the result won't be sudden. It will be the slow accumulation of small disrespects until one day the dynamic is unrecognizable. Machiavelli's final lesson was about self-governance. The man who cannot govern himself cannot govern anything, but the man who governs himself completely changes every room he enters. You don't need to be ruthless. You need to be grounded, strategic, clear, and sovereign. If this cut through something for you, subscribe right now. And before you go, drop one word in the comments. The word that honestly describes how you have been operating in your relationships up until today. One honest word. That is your starting point. The next move is yours.